Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Suffice to say, the idea of math completely flummoxed Marjorie Taylor Greene. In fact, not just any math, adding one to something else has completely stymied her. Like, oh my God, how did we... what's going on here? What they added someone? There's an extra number that...
I mean, Bob, you and I have been talking about politics a long time. I don't think I've ever seen a day like yesterday that this party, it's not just, oh my God, I don't even know where you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Ron McDaniel steps down. Nikki Haley loses to, hang on one second. Oh, right. Charlotte Clymer said voters in Nevada GOP primary were presented with three choices: Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, and none of these candidates. And of course, none of these candidates won. Right. They voted for Mike Pence to be hung. He won that primary.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be clear about Ronna McDaniel, she's the latest scapegoat for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Because this is everything that's going haywire with the Republican Party. And Rachel Maddow did a great A-block the other night detailing all the things that are going sideways and janky with the Republicans.
Yeah.
This is all because of Donald Trump. It has nothing really to do with Ronna McDaniel other than the fact that she's been enabling him and dancing around him like everyone else does. And finally, she, just like Rudy Giuliani before her or Steve Bannon or any of these guys, Scaramucci and all the rest of them, gets burned as soon as she gets too close to Donald Trump. Eventually, all the people near Donald Trump will be steamrolled by Donald Trump, by this 9-foot-tall giant baby crushing, cities and buildings. And
and Speaker Johnson skedaddles without even talking to reporters because it's like it's hard to be the worst speaker ever, but oh my God, he didn't even need to do the Israel vote, and they lost that too. I mean, it just, what a day yesterday.
There's a big lesson in what Mike Johnson has accomplished or not accomplished yesterday, and this goes back to when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, and while the Nancy Pelosi House of Representatives passed a lot of amazing progressive legislation prior to the changeover in leadership, the fact of the matter is that some of the things that we wanted to be introduced before Congress wasn't, mainly because there weren't the votes.
Right.
Yeah.
And we see what it looks like when a vote is brought to the floor and fails miserably.
And Speaker
that
Johnson,
is embarrassing. That's humiliating.
He says he's going to do it again. He says he's going to do it again. He's going to bring it up for vote again. He's going to lose again. It's just the whole party is
doing it.
An exploding comedy cigar. I mean, and by the way, this Trump statement, Bob, I know normally I wallow in the Chatafoy deliciousness,
right?
But I'm a little part that and a little rumbly tumbly. But his statement: if immunity is not granted to a president, every future president who leaves office will be immediately indicted by the opposing party. Well, as a lot of people said, first of all, that's a threat.
Right. It is a threat. Yes, that's exactly what that is. That's Donald Trump saying that if I become president, I'm going to prosecute everybody. Doesn't matter if there's evidence or any cause whatsoever to do it. I'm just going to do it because I am your retribution. Yeah. That's his role. And he's forecasting that. He's saying it. He's not really talking about future history of what's going to happen, the back and forth. Yeah. Because, granted, without Donald Trump, the Republican Party still was all about revenge, just doing things, petty revenge just because the other guys did it.
Yeah.
And so that's what the entire party is geared around. Now that the party is being replaced by this one guy, as Rachel was saying the other night, he's controlling all of these levers, and
it's the Democratic Party and a guy, guy,
right? Exactly. And all the levers of power are now geared toward elevating Donald Trump and maintaining his power, which he will hopefully be denied from this fall. Right.
Oh my God, I can't wait to watch the panic. If in fact, a lot of legal experts are right, the Supreme Court doesn't hear this, and bam, you've got a convicted felon now. Yep. All the polling shows is going to go down in flames, and this is this is exactly what they deserve.
And the thing I keep thinking about, Stephanie, is during his first loser one term that he served, I wonder if he was going around the White House assuming that he had presidential immunity and committing all kinds of crimes that maybe we don't even know about. We've got no hint about, because he was just doing them. And, his people would come up to him and go, "Sir," he'd do a "sir" story.
Sir. Tears in my eyes. Hi.
Sir, that's against the law. And he goes, "No, presidential immunity." It's like David Rose in that episode of S Creek, where he assumes everything is a tax write-off. You shouldn't be buying that, David. No, don't worry about it. It's a write-off. And that's Trump.
By the way,
don't worry about it.
You can confirm, Bob, that you and I have never had a conversation that didn't start with me calling you sir with tears in my eyes. Sir, could I have that fart sound effect you used? Okay.
Which is always an indication that Donald Trump is making something up. Whenever he starts a story by saying "sir" and doing that voice, mocking his generals or whatever, that's a made-up story.
I mean,
none of it's true.
Right. You added to my rumbly-tumbly yesterday. You say on day one of his dictatorship, Trump will reinstate Schedule F, an executive order he initially signed in October 2020, removing civil service protections, making it possible for him to replace career government employees with loyalists who are being recruited as we speak. And you said, how can Trump stay in office beyond 4 years in violation of 22nd Amendment? Project 2025 is interviewing Trump loyalists for 50,000 federal jobs, including law enforcement. DOJ will be put under direct control of the president. Who's going to remove him? I mean, that's one of the reasons, Bob, I hope people are right that the Supreme Court won't take this, because there's no use for a Supreme Court, as Glenn Kirshner says to us, if he's granted total immunity, right?
Yeah. I mean, if there's no law enforcement mechanism within the federal government that's willing to, say, for example, drag him out of the White House after his would-be next term would expire, then he can stay in indefinitely. It doesn't matter. It's not like John Roberts is going to go knocking on the door of the White House and say, hey, listen, it's time to go, and drag Donald Trump out by the scruff. That's not going to happen. So what Donald Trump wants to do, and this sounds super conspiratorial. This sounds like partisan hyperbole. I grant you that. But the fact of the matter is that Project 2025 is real. Yeah. Donald Trump really did sign an executive order in October of 2020.
We can't be called conspiracy theorists because they wrote it down.
Right.
Right. Well, he created this Schedule F, which means he could fire any government employee at will, doesn't matter what the cause was, anything like that, and replace those people with obviously loyalists. And Project 2025 is a real thing established by the Heritage Foundation to establish permanent Republican control of this nation. And it just so happens that Donald Trump is the one on deck to take over that control. And he is going to use and abuse that to the fullest extent. 50,000 federal workers are going to be replaced by Donald Trump loyalists. And that includes drawing not only any, disloyalists out of the Department of Justice and replacing them with loyalists, but also bringing the Department of Justice under the direct control of the White House, which means Donald Trump will have unlimited power to do whatever the hell he wants and stay for as long as he wants. Yeah. This is 1,000% real.
Yeah. Well, I assume you finishing taping your show is what brought on this fantastic ruling on immunity.
But, no. And actually, the universe was on our side yesterday because it happened right before our show for a change.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, something has happened.
I'm doing something right. I'm putting out good vibes, getting them in return. Yeah.
Where are you on this? You probably heard us talking that, of course, this is great news, and a lot of people think the Supreme Court's not going to take it. But, of course, I just think the Supreme Court's so political. And there is at least 4 political hacks on there that you think they could give him exactly what he wants, which is enough delay till after the election.
Right.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling about it? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think Donald Trump, as far as the immunity decision, Donald Trump still got a little bit of what he wanted, which was a delay in one of these trials, in the D.C. January 6th trial. And so, good job, but you know what? It's now going to continue as though nothing ever happened, because that was part of the immunity ruling for the D.C. Circuit yesterday, that the trial should proceed afoot or apace and not be delayed any further. So that's obviously good news. The thing I'm curious about, though, to see will occur tomorrow in the Supreme Court when they hear oral arguments on this 14th Amendment Section 3 issue. And what I'm predicting here on that is, I think the conservatives on the court will say that there's no established definition of what insurrection is. They're going to say, well, does this rise to the level of Jefferson Davis and the Confederacy seceding from the Union and declaring war against the United States? I don't know. I don't think so. It was just a thing that happened for a few hours in the afternoon. And I think that's where they're going to try to weasel their way in to disrupt this removal from the ballot. I'm not feeling particularly confident in how that's going to go.
Yeah, but, it's going to be a very rumbly-tumbly week. Yes. One of the things you and I love to talk about is when Trump stumbles and then he tries to make it seem like he meant to do that. Like you always say, Pee Wee Herman, I meant to do that, when he wipes out on his bike, right? Because he said supply...
Magnified fortune, et cetera.
Right.
when he said yesterday, supply chain. It's a new term we came up with. He meant supply chain. But anyway, here, just take a listen. Yeah, 16. 16. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Which one is it? Trump.
15?
16 is the one with
yes,
that.
Yes, indeed.
What happens if he gets back in for 4 more years?
I think the country's finished. I do.
In what regard?
I think it's not going to be able to function. I think look at even things like supply chains, things we never even heard about. You never heard that term. Everything worked under me. It all worked.
Okay, first of all, no. 9. Oh, I speak fascist. 999. Secondly, yeah.
9. There it is.
First of all, we never heard of it because you just made it up right now. It's supply chains, you moron. Anyway, you said from the Great American Memory Hole, Donald Trump's 2019 pre-COVID manufacturing recession, by the alleged businessman president who builds things. Meanwhile, thanks to President Biden, new factory construction has tripled since Trump left office. I mean, and also, as Jody just was, I think, implying, in the COVID memory hole.
Thank you.
Supply chains did not work during you. We were wiping our ass with coffee filters because of your disastrous. I mean, oh my God, he will go down in history as the worst response to a pandemic ever. I mean, what do you mean the supply chains all work great under you? We were here.
Yeah, you could see all of the boats stacked up offshore here in Los Angeles until Biden got in, and then things got moving again.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was visible right off the coast here.
PPE. We couldn't get anything. Paper towels.
Toilet paper.
Kleenex. Yeah.
Food.
Remember people hoarding? There was a Curb Your Enthusiasm scene about someone that was a hoarder. They're like, you were hoarding during COVID.
Yeah. I love that. But this is one of those things where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because... it used to be, remember when Howard Dean went, yar, and everyone said, oh, well, that's done.
Oh, he's done.
That's it for him. Donald Trump presided over the deaths of 400,000 Americans during his final year in office. Exactly 400,000. I think the 400,000th occurred right around Joe Biden's inauguration.
Yeah.
And that is an atrocity because mainly you can point to Donald Trump's incompetence, his lack of response to COVID, as directly contributing to all those deaths. And we just sort of go, we move along and we forget about it, and including the fact that there was a massive recession, there was massive job loss. Yeah, inflation during COVID, during 2020, was super duper low, but did it really matter? Because you didn't have a job, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And as you said, we were wiping our butts with coffee filters and hoarding paper towels, or at least trying to.
Yeah.
This was Donald Trump's America, and he's revising it. 2.9 million jobs lost.
Aaron Rupar, I guess this is what we have to do, Bob. Don't get happy and just keep, all you can do is keep telling the story. Aaron Rupar said, reminder, when Trump left office in January 2021, Biden inherited a 6.3% unemployment rate. It's now 3.7. 80,000 Americans died that month from COVID. The country is indisputably in better shape now. So you're absolutely right about we cannot let the memory hole, the whole disastrous Trump presidency, but before we even get to all his criminal convictions, right?
Right. Wage growth is exceeding the rate of inflation right now. I mean, we've got a record job creation streak that we haven't seen since the middle 1960s, for God's sake.
Yeah.
We are producing more oil than any nation has in the history of the world right now.
Yeah.
These are all things that are getting lost
Trump
in the mix.
Lost 22 million jobs. That's doubles what Herbert Hoover lost. It's like,
right.
Oh my God.
We need to be the messengers on the economy right now, because we got to get the word out. Because this is going to be the thing that's going to decide, I think, this coming up election. And we all just need to be tweeting about this, screaming about this wherever we can. The numbers are there. The math is there. The legacy, the records, the record for the Biden administration, it's all there. And we need to make sure we get the word out.
Absolutely.
And retweet, share, like everything.
Ron Klain, who said it best. I know Chris accuses me sometimes of being too happy-clappy about Biden, but I'm like, I legitimately love him. I think he is the best president, I think, possibly in my lifetime. I think he is an unbelievably decent man. And Ron Klain said the president has delivered the largest economic recovery since Roosevelt, the largest infrastructure plan since Eisenhower, the most judges confirmed since Kennedy, the second largest health care bill since Johnson, the largest climate change bill in history. Put simply, when you consider doing the job as president, getting things done, President Biden has had the best first term of any president in modern history. I mean, Yeah, that's why I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I see some of these polls, right?
Yeah. I mean, just imagine the bipartisan legislation that Joe Biden has gotten done, including this thing with the border that Donald Trump is trying to kill.
With razor-thin majorities. I mean,
The bipartisan infrastructure bill has been a huge boom for factory construction, for example. There's 3 times as much factory construction going on right now than when Donald Trump was president.
Everything Trump promised that he didn't get done, Biden has gotten done. All right, we're running
this
long.
is in the most divisive political time of our lives.
Thank you.
And Joe Biden's still doing amazing things.
Yes,
legislative
in spite of that yesterday, whatever that was with the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme.